All right, we got CROM update number 55, and today I am joined for the first time by Stephen Sonneveld. Stephen, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good, friend Kurt, and community. That's the voice I hear in my head when I write Barbarians.
Yes.
It's a bit of Thundarr, I think, but hello.
That's exactly what. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. That's one of the four pillars of my creative
Really?
existence is Thundarr the Barbarian.
What are
So
the other
we
three?
are in good hands. Oh yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Conan the Barbarian, and then I was just thinking this ninja magazines and
Mm,
movies. And then what's the other one? It'll come to me. I was gonna write something down, but
yeah.
it's just stuff that always keeps coming back to me.
Right.
It's just like, oh, I wanna do something, and oh yeah, well, I'll do some Conan. I'll do
Right.
some, ninjas or samurai or what have you. So how about you? What are some of the influences that you have?
Definitely Thundarr, and then when He-Man came out, and all of that beautiful box art, especially for Castle Grayskull. I don't know if you remember
Oh
it,
yeah.
but they were like Frazetta paintings in the toy
Oh,
aisle.
I do. I do.
Yeah, selling them to second graders, and it was
Yeah,
great.
I, yeah, I think that was, uh, who was it? Earl Norman
Hmm.
or Norham, excuse me,
Yeah,
who did those. Let me see. I actually just picked up. I was out comic book shopping with uh, the friend Dan Snook does Rave Sensation,
oh wow,
and these were like $2, and
that's beautiful.
Dan picked them up for me. But these are, this is what it is. I
Right.
mean, this is what I constantly
Hmm.
come back to, and
Yep.
I don't think I'll ever leave. I don't know. Although there are some other non-sword and sorcery projects I want to work on, but I mean, come on, look at
I
these.
know.
Whew.
And Alfredo Alcala, his work on the He-Man comics that came with the
Yes,
characters, that came with the figures.
yes,
God, and then of course with the Conan crossover that he did. Yeah, he
yeah. He's one of my
yeah,
favorites. That Yeah, that's that Buscema and
mm,
Akala combo with Roy Thomas writing
right,
the script too. So that's the
right.
trifecta. So today we're going to get into your approach and thoughts towards Crom in answering my call for collaboration. It was somewhere towards the end of last year. You reached out
Hmm.
and we I always leave the last month of the year as my month to just sort of take on what I've accomplished and not accomplished for the year prior, and then get prepared for the next year, which is what we're in right now, 2025.
Yeah.
And you sent some just amazing samples of the work right now, um, that you have, and this one is "Ain't No Princess." And I just grabbed the first 3 pages. But do you want to tell a little bit more about yourself and just your approach to making comics?
Well, I started. I'm sure, like you, I've been writing and drawing forever, right? Since I was a kid. Um,
Yep, yep,
and
yep.
I I sort of came of age in that whole right at that apex of the sword sorcery um, genre with Conan and He-Man and Thundarr and Black Star and all of these wonderful influences. Um,
Ah, yeah, yeah.
but I think the first thing that made me want to draw was my uncle had a Treasury edition Spider-Man comic, that was the first issue with the Green Goblin. So you've got all this wonderful Ditko art
Oh
blown
wow!
up,
All right.
and it's Spider-Man and the Green Goblin, and the Hulk was a guest star. And there was one panel in particular. Uh, I mean, if you're going to draw and write, you're going to draw and write. But I remember one panel in particular where the Green Goblin mask is just sitting on a dummy, and the figure is, you can't see his face. He's obscured by a cabinet, and that was just so intriguing to me. Like that one little
Mm.
panel just made me so inspired to want to create art. So
Wow, that's very specific.
yeah, and like I said, it's, if it's in your blood, you're going to do it. But that's one
Yeah.
of the times the matches were lit. You know. Are we reconnecting here?
And you have been. Yep, yep, yep. We're fine. Yeah, we're good. And now with Ain't No Princess, this was only on your Tumblr spot site, or was it actually in? I'm trying to
No,
remember
that
when
one
you
I
had
just
it.
put on Tumblr.
Was it printed anywhere or?
No, I did it on Tumblr. I
Okay.
was going through an experimental phase. That whole comic is in 9 panel grid. Um, I was just trying out different
Mm-hmm.
things. There's another comic it's a 9 panel grid, but it's like Tetris, where the one part ends and then the next chapter it's block. It starts with block 3 if it ended on block 2. So, and different types of pens I was trying to use at the time, because I so love pencils, and you get such a fine line, and I just can't find the perfect pen that will equal a pencil, you know? So I think that's part of why my style evolved a little bit,
Mm.
as you saw in that page, where just the lines are going to be thicker then, and then you just go from there.
Yeah, I kind of went through the same thing when I was getting back into art in 2013 and wanting to come back to the full time life, and so I started doing figure drawing at a local art school,
Mm,
and just went down with a pad and pencil, eraser, sharpener. But I'm one where I move very quickly. I want to, you don't, these were croquis sessions. So they start with 1 minute poses, 10 1 minute poses. Then the end of the evening, it ends with 20-minute poses.
oh
So,
wow.
there's a lot of information there's a lot of information in the human body that you got to get down on paper. And
Hmm.
I really, really, I really enjoy the process, but I also require it. So I got frustrated with wasting of time sharpening a pencil, and started going through ballpoint
Yeah.
pens. And I found the black G2s from Pilot. Is this it here? These moved. No, I got them downstairs because I've been working in the morning on CROM pages, but they have this a similar line quality, like the when you're just running a pencil over a piece of
Yeah.
paper, but you don't have to sharpen
Well, yeah. That's brilliant.
them.
Yeah, because I went
So my
with some ballpoint pen for
excuse me.
a comic called Epilogue, and it was like a plastic man is sort of devolving. He's not retaining his shape anymore, and he's married to an ice woman,
Mm-hmm.
and it's sort of their last adventure together. And I really like the story, but I used I thought it would work just a normal Papermate pen because it looks so good writing, and then when I finally transferred the pages and got it through Photoshop, it just those lines just tore up. But you try, right?
Have you ever seen these? Have you ever? Right, no, it's all about experimentation
Right.
and art. Have you seen these high tech Cs?
No.
They're like faux they're like faux
Oh
rapidograms.
wow.
So you if you're talking like literally like same line and
Uh-huh.
everything, um, my partner in crime, Jake Jacobs with Turbo Pit Fighter, introduced me to these, and these are like stage two inking process for
Oh
me.
wow.
So I like the variation of line, but um, these I have a point 0.5, a point 0.3, and even a point 0.25, just to give me some very like linear
Right.
equalized line weight in hatching and descriptive and stuff. So this is definitely something I think you should try. And
Okay.
in in the similarity of quality that a pencil will give us. So
Well, that's the holy
just
grail.
some thing. Have you heard of jetpens.com?
No.
Might want to check out that. It might be a little dangerous because they are literally the leading website on each pen that they sell. That page is devoted to the pen, and they have videos and samples of what the pen will do and what it's just. They really just you know they do an amazing job selling pens, like getting you to really like look for a pen and then find that. So I treat myself to a couple of new pens to test out every other month or
It's
so.
a dangerous situation, is what you're
Yeah.
saying, huh?
But it's as artists, yeah. I think the hardest part is walking through anywhere that has art supplies and not buying
Right.
something. So, but yeah, the based on the samples that you sent, and your similar background, if you will, and the enthusiasm for sword and sorcery, Conan, Crom. Can you tell me some of the thoughts? You and I have had obviously conversations outside of this interview
Hmm.
today, but let the people kind of hear tease the people on some of the ways you've been thinking about approaching your own Crom story and then art.
I think I'm going to have to do a new Crom story because I was rereading the Gardner Fox ones, and I was rereading yours, and it's like Fox's Crom is Errol Flynn, yours is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then the stories I was writing, it was like Clint Eastwood.
Mm-hmm.
It was like they were like
That's
these
fine.
weird,
That's
these
fine.
weird, almost Western motifs there. Um, for a few dollars less.
Because you had the story, yeah, the story you submitted was the water
Hmm.
waif, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
And that was.
Now,
Go ahead.
in no, no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna tell the viewers that it was about a mermaid-like creature saves Crom from the villains, and he goes back to uh, get his money from the villains. And when he then they learn of this water waif who can restore life, and of course they they want to take over nature, and they end up killing her, and then he goes on his final revenge spree because you they took something beautiful from the world when they didn't have to. So
Mm-hmm.
so that's what I'm
Yeah,
yeah.
that story I really enjoyed.
Well, thank you. And I wrote 6 more, or I wrote 5 more uh, since then, and they're all about 11
Okay.
pages formatted. But they're of a similar vein like that,
Uh huh.
where that's the gunslinger, for lack of a better phrase, comes to town and here's the issue, and how is he going to solve it?
Right. Right. Excuse me. Um, yeah, the thing that I've been using this Crom podcast for is sort of a interview type situation, but on for equal two sides. So in other words, it gives also the artists like yourself, writers and artists yourself, to come on and give me some questions, and whether it's going to be worth your time in spending time and energy towards my Crom project. But the first thing I like correcting people on is I have my own vision of Crom the Barbarian.
Mhm.
Gardner Fox obviously had a vision. He probably most definitely wanted to do a Conan comic, but back then there was Glenn Lord, who controlled the IP, and
Mhm.
he was very, very, very strict. And rumor has it he was not a big fan of comic books. So, John Guinta and Gardner Fox then just did the flip. Turned black hair to
Right.
blonde. Like you said, more of a swashbuckling era Flynn. Used Crom, which was the god that he has. Crom swears to,
Right.
and all these little things to keep the attorneys away. But now we're in the blessing of it being in the public domain.
Right.
So I'm not the first person to pick up Crom. Um, I hope I'm not the last person. But one of the things that I'm very interested in is the collaborative effect of expanding a character's personification, or how they play inside a set genre, and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
So the first thing I like telling people is don't ever worry about trying to make me happy, because that's not gonna ultimately make you happy. And what's ultimately going to make me happy is somebody like you, incredibly happy and enthusiastic
Yeah.
about what it is that you would like to see happen. The second thing is that collaborating with me is on multiple levels. So I could sit here all day and rattle off all the possibilities. I'm not the publisher. I'm not somebody that needs to be catered to. I want there to be uh, in the upcoming CROM anthologies a sense of like teasing people and promoting the artists, in moving forward. So,
Mhm.
for instance, I don't know if you've seen the episode with Dexter Jones. Dexter's got a 22-page comic book called The God Crom.
Oh wow.
He's hammering material out. The final pages are starting to get to a point. We've come up with an agreement where the first 7 pages of God Crom will be available in the CROM Anthology, and then there'll be a page devoted to how to get the whole comic from Dexter Jones. So, it is something where, I'm doing my best over time to create a good explanation of who I am and
Mhm.
what I'm doing. Hence the Crom Update podcast. But more importantly, as I want to put on you right now, any questions you have about me and my Crom project?
Well, what I like about your project, and those comic samples were really great. The Word documents that you posted, I really love those stories. Um,
So yes, I
yeah.
I have three scripts right now that are free to download at cromthebarbarian.com.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, that one with the sea creature was really great. And that other one, the unknown sword, like like I said to you in an email, I really think you've got something there. If you wanted to ever go into a different medium with Crom, I think that'd be a great vehicle for it. Um, but
Yeah, thank
what I
you.
like about your approach here is that you do have the blessing of the estate as well, you know, and that means a lot to me as far as creator rights, because all those guys in the comic industry just got a bad deal. So from Siegel and Schuster down, um, Bill Finger, everybody. So I'm really that's one of the reasons I'm excited to work with you, because the original creators are
Hmm, thank you.
represented.
Correct, correct, yeah. Because the clarity is that if anybody brings something into the CROM Anthology, they retain all creative control of it.
Yeah.
It's when it becomes me physically working on art that has my impression imprinting on it, on that, and any maybe like adjustments. Then there is a shared responsibility is kind of the way I look at it, because um, you know uh, not putting anything down per se,
Hmm.
but there's enough history here
Yeah.
where sword and sorcery is just really at the bottom of the bucket when it comes to genres. Very, very, very well not taken seriously.
Hmm. Right.
It's almost when people see a barely clothed white
Right.
male in a sword, it's like move to the
Right.
next. So the mission is not to develop an IP and sell it off to Hollywood. I actually stand in the same space that Alan Moore has, which is those are two different worlds,
Right.
and the multimedia world, like television, animation, and all that kind of stuff. I have no interest in trying to pursue. I love comics
Hmm.
as an expressive art form.
Right.
And the big thing that I really do enjoy is working with other artists, like whether it's just meeting in this kind of place and bouncing ideas off one another, or getting feedback, critique, like, oh, I really like your story, but you ever think of this? Like, no, I didn't. That, and I think we're missing that component in creativity. Everybody has
Right.
this standalone kind of approach where they want to make an IP to sell, and then financially and that's fine
Right.
if that's how you want to go about it. Go about it that way. But for me, it's way more about, number one, building a community around a public domain character, which nobody will have any ownership of, other than the situation that they put Crom in. You'll own your own story. You'll own your own, let's say, version or variation of the character.
Hmm.
But to actually be able to claim ownership of Crom the Barbarian will be impossible, because it's in the public domain. So, and I really do, like I said, I like that a lot, because it's easy for us to work. It's not like, oh, well, this,
Right.
I shared this, this about the character. Think, okay, yeah, that's fine, that's obvious. But at the end of the day, we just need to get something printed. So,
And you know what else I love about this project
so
too? It's just fun. It's making comics to make comics. And, yeah.
yes, yes, yes. I think that's another thing I've seen getting shuffled and lost in the world as it is.
Hmm.
But yeah, is there is there anything else that you're thinking about in asking me?
Not at this time, no. No, I'm just excited to get
So
started.
when it And you have six scripts. So we are you very much thinking about a format in presenting those in something similar to Ain't No Princess?
Well, I've done the thumbnails on the water waif, and it's five to six, about 5 to 6 panels a page. So I think that one ended up being like 11
Okay.
pages.
Okay.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when I broke down I mean, as you know, it changes when you draw it, but the other 5 scripts were about the same, about 5 or 6 panels a page. I wanted to be looser with the format, although I don't know, it's like there's something constraining, but there's something that also challenges you when you have a 9 panel grid, you know, but then it's a gimmick, and I don't want to do a gimmick.
Yeah.
So with Ain't No Princess, it was a challenge.
Okay.
I did another comic strip called Grey of Scotland Yard, which was all in, it was a comic book, but it was all in the comic strip format. So everything was 4 panels across,
Mm-hmm.
4 panels across, as though you were reading it every day. So, but
Mm-hmm.
those were just challenges. Um, yeah, I'm excited to get back to drawing and to see what I can do with these with the news stories.
Yeah, I'd like, once again, another thing about collaborating with me is using CROM Anthology, which has deadlines.
Hmm.
There's a soft deadline for the end of this month, which will help me with projects that have already been started back last year, to kind of get a good calibration of what will be accomplished by the hard deadline, which is the end of February.
Mm.
And then from there, as I've been telling people, I need at least 2 months to get uh, a proof copy, a draft copy together, because some of the work, because I am partnering with people in making the art, there needs to be a copy sent to them, and they have we'll have a sit down episode where we'll both review it and kind of fine tooth comb it. And then of course there was the sales campaign, which right now I'm hoping will be May somewhere that year for CROM Anthology. But as I've been saying too, and I'm going to repeatedly keep saying, is that there'll be a CROM Anthology 2 and a CROM Anthology 3,
Yeah,
so I don't want anybody in an anxious way of trying to beat the deadline, meet the deadline,
right.
because this is a low to no stress. Obviously, this, like I said, and I've stated, I'm not establishing a publishing house. I'm not babysitting other people. Everything has to be very much from their side, keeping up to date and everything. With me, I'll be sending out emails periodically and the such. But at this point, the thing that's very exciting about continually meeting up with you and finding what's happening with your crime material is how it can then be involved in a CROM Anthology.
Hmm.
And also because, as I said, there's a serving to you that I want to try to find. That basically, if somebody was to go through a CROM Anthology, as I've said, and they get to your story, and it might be inked by somebody else, or it might be a story that was just the script was given to that artist, in collaboration, so on and so forth.
Hmm.
um, there's going to be that little switch where somebody goes like, Oh, I want to see more of Stephen's work. I really resonate with Stephen's work. Not Crom, just the way you tell
Yeah.
stories. So these are going to be other conversations that I want to have with individuals like yourself, where there could be something set up in order to have the ability to sell your comics.
Right.
Whether they are Sword and Sorcery, Crom the Barbarian, or the such. So there's a lot. There's a lot entailed. As I said, and I'm using these videos as basically a PSA, public service announcement to other people that might be sitting in their seats on the fringe, going, "Well, I don't know if I want to get involved. What is all involved? Where do I get paid? How much am I going to earn?" And all, just the normalcy of how
Right.
people sort of approach these types of situations. I'm hoping it just meets with where people are right now in their development, and also the way that they want to have something to keep them on track. That's
Yeah.
that's one of the bigger things I'm excited for, is just allowing people to kind of move along, and then the stars align, and the next thing you know, you're in CROM Anthology, whatever that number is and stuff, and then moving forward from there. But yeah, the goal is greater than any money that could be made, because the thing that I find with all the noise and attention grabbing, Instagram and YouTube and,
Right.
and streaming and video games and da 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 da. If there could be a happy community of over 100 people that are involved in some level, whether they're just super fans of or they're writing a script, or they're penciling, or they're inking, or they're writing a prose story, or that these types of things. That's far more valuable to me than oh, we got to make this financial, you know,
Right. Right.
to happen. Which we do. I still need to be able to re- get get money in order to the compensation is people creators will get copies of the said book that they're in, based on how many pages, or the where they're at in contribution and stuff. So
Yeah, it's quite an undertaking. But yeah, if you just go in with the
it is. It's
mindset,
something. Go ahead.
if
I'm
you
sorry.
just go in with the mindset of, I just want to make a work that makes me happy and I'm going to share it with people, then I think you're on the right
Good.
track.
Good. Yes. Yes. And you very much are. So I just want to welcome you to the community and your first video, because that's the other thing, is that these aren't one and done types of videos. These I have. Um, David Molina, I think, will be doing his 10th episode next
Oh,
week.
wow.
So, and he has on YouTube, he has his own playlist now. Jason Schoonover is right behind him. I think he's at 8. So that's another thing that I really get excited, because over time, when people kind of intersect with what's going on through Kurt and Steven hanging out, and with 25 episodes of Crom updates,
Right.
they'll get a good glimpse in there, and be able to, you know, maybe even just educationally take some information from it.
Hmm.
And that's sort of another layer that I'm excited about. But do you have anything else in the way of questions or just comments that you want to make before we close this out, Stephen?
No, I just, the minute that I got in contact with you, I was just inspired to delve into this crazy Crom world, and I can't wait to see the results of my work here. I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
Makes two of
Right.
us, and probably over 100 in a couple of months. So yeah, no, I want to thank you for putting the time together, reaching out, and definitely hanging out today. In closing, I just want everybody to know that there are right now, there will be more as they come along, but 3 scripts that are totally free. You just download them from cromthebarbarian.com. But also attaching that you do not have to be slaves to these scripts. These are very much starter points. If you follow it passionately, you'll come up with something at the end. But if you find that you're like, I want to leap over here and add this and take a page away, that's totally fine too. Also, the thing I really want people to understand is these are going to be up forever, as cromthebarbarian.com is up there. There could be like 10 versions of Unknown Stored that I would love to have made over the next 8 years, if you will, and then be able to bind them together in a book. That's one of the reasons I love different points of view. And I also like what I refer to as variant material. So material that's already been printed interior wise that is then redeveloped, re-looked at.
Right.
This is something that I'm going to be doing a lot of talking and showing, as it goes down the way. But there's a lot of really great people out there that are working on some great Crom the Barbarian stuff already. There is a issue 2 of Brutal Blade of Crom that's in the works and coming very, very soon. Jamie Barrows is heading that up. So please be on the lookout.
Oh, good. He's making more.
One of the best ways of doing keeping up to date. Oh yeah, and everybody's involved, so it's the same. I don't show inside that often. I don't show that much because I really want people to get a hold of this, because this is some of the best work that's going on out there, and I'm a big supporter of it. Lucky Comics is another a company that's been around for a while. I just picked up their annual #1. John Michael Helmder is up on that. And then, of course, there's issue 1 and 2 collected and everything. And primarily, Lucky Comics can be acquired through drive-through comics and stuff. But there's a lot of Crom going on, and I hope it keeps going that way. And if people want to work, people want to collaborate, that's something too that's available. But I just want to once again just thank Steve for taking the time, and also just saying I can't wait to see what comes about in how and what he develops for Crom.
Oh, thank you, Kurt.
With that being said, we'll let people get back to reading comics. Yep, making them, if you will. All right, Steve, you take care, but you hold tight because we're going to do a little after show.
Okay.